So now, a little bit about what the season of Ostara means for me. As much as I welcome the darkness and the quietus of wintertime and the feeling of first stirrings at Imbolc, we've now come to yet another favorite time of the year for me. This is the fragile, the poignant, the sweet time of year. Everything has its moment when it first breaks away from whatever gave it birth. It makes its first entry into the wider world. Whether it's the tendril that makes that first break through the ground, or the first crack in the egg, or the first labor pain for delivery. All the things that are the beginning of the appearance of life. Life has already existed. Something's been given birth. But it's its first reaching out and becoming into the world. Spring is the dawn of the world, where all those sweet, poignant moments are happening all around us when things are beginning to show themselves. And at a level we too are beginning to show ourselves. We've made plans and we've thought about things and we've decided some actions to take into the new year if we live the wheel. And the first stirrings and the first becomings are now happening. It's that pause between when, it's a brief pause between when you create something and become responsible for it. It's a very powerful moment. It's so vulnerable and so raw, so tender. And I think of it as a sweet moment because it's a trusting moment. You know, the moment we actually do something we've talked about doing, take the first step to make it happen. It's been living in our minds or in our plans, our plots and our plans. And the moment we actually take the first step to make something happen, knowing that we could fall on our face or we could succeed, it might be what we expect it to be or want it to be, or it might not be, but that first step, it's dawn, and it's the moment of birth. The moment that something begins to manifest. It's what rises up in us. It's something that has to come forth. It's not meant to be held internally. There's nothing about the season of Ostara which is in the shadow. It is the light, and the ever-increasing light shining on everything. It is about more and more clarity and more illumination. It is about what thrives in the face of that, of becoming open and public and vibrant and alive. But there is the moment when that first reaching out happens, and it happens in the physical world around us, we see that, but it happens in us too. The courage to follow our convictions and do what we've said we were going to do and create what we said we would create. The coming out of the cave that happens at this time of year, we are coming into the season of air. Ostara begins the season of air. And it begins with a whisper. It's that intuition. You know, air is all about knowing, but it's not just knowing because we understand why we know something. We've learned something or we've listened. It's about communication. We've listened and we've learned and we've shared our knowledge. It's also about the whisper, about intuition and the thing that we know, that we either at the moment we are aware of it think that it's founded in logic and we grasp it and we make it real, or we think there's no basis for this and we release it. And all the possibilities we give up when that happens. It's a whisper. It's not just about deep knowing. It's about that whisper. Again, it's about the frailty of something on the edge. It either will be or it will not be according to the next step we take. Air is about all things being possible. Whether they become or they don't come, we often own. But all things are possible. It's about seeing the invisible. The element of air is all around us, but we can't see it. We can see what it does. We can see the movement of grass. We can see smoke blowing through the air. We can smell what comes in on it. We can be in that element completely, but we don't see it. And spring, and the vulnerability of spring is very often about the things that we cannot They're not tangible. We can't touch them and hold them and know them in that sense, but we know them in another ethereal, beautiful level. And it's up to us whether we listen to the whispers and create and grow from that, or whether we close ourselves off to those possibilities. The season of Ostara is about communication. Again, it comes with us on the spirit of air, and it comes with us on the spirit of we are out of the cloistered time, the dark time, the withdrawn time, the time of reflecting. We are in the time now of bringing our own selves and what we believe in and what we want to create and what we want to do and what we want to be. We bring it into the light that is warming us and opening us up. And that will involve other people, loved ones and friends and community, and exchanging what we believe and what we've created. Very often, we don't create in a vacuum. We create in the world in which we live, and the people in that world are very much a part of that, and our ability to share our dreams, inspire others, learn from others, the exchange of communication, air, one to the other, is this season of Ostara. So I always say to myself at this time of year in my journals and my meditations and the time I spend in prayer, what is it that I am offering to this season? What am I willing to bring out from my deepest recesses, not worrying about how it will land or how it will sound or whether it will succeed? What am I willing to offer? This season is so much about trust. It's an instinctual pattern of the season that we watch around us, that no matter how cold the winter was, the spring will do what the spring will do, and it will trust in the turning of the season. It inspires us. It is courage. It is allowing the parts of us that we might, if we weren't trusting, keep inside and turn ourselves inside out, be the seed coming through the ground, or the first little beak picking its way through the egg, using that symbolism as that moment between perfect quiet and what appears like safety into what is invigorating and life-giving and vibrant, but which also has that moment of frailty. Oh, I love that aspect of the season. I think of it throughout the year when I have Ostara moments, when I'm called to say something or do something and there's that hesitation. Ostara is not about thinking twice. It's about following your instincts, following that whisper, being like the bulb that's pushing its way up through the ground, like the air that's moving over the land. I have a favorite reading that I like to use this time of year, and I always pull it out as part of the ritual for my making of the incense and the oils that I use for Ostara. And I thought I would share that with you as a way to end this video. I took this out of a book at some point, and it is by an author by the name of Mary Webb, who I know nothing more about than that, but at least I can attribute it to the right person. Think about the smells of spring. Take a deep inhale and think about what comes to you on the air, on the breeze at this time of year that comes to you at no other time of the year. Here's what Mary Webb wrote about that. The whole earth is a thurible, heaped with incense, a fire with the divine, yet not consumed. This is the most spiritual of earth's joys, too subtle for analysis, mysteriously connected with light and with whiteness, for white flowers are the sweetest. Yet it penetrates the physical being to its depths. Here is a symbol of the material value of spiritual things. If we washed our souls in these healing perfumes as often as we wash our hands, our lives would be infinitely more wholesome. That are my thoughts on the season of Ostara. Oh, I wish you fresh breezes of spring. Breathe them in deeply. Enjoy. And think about what you can offer What comes from only you and from nobody else that you can offer that is unique and wonderful, and don't let yourself hesitate. Bring it into the light and share it. Trust. Trust your way forward. Mary Part.